So I mentioned earlier about how you have to unlock everything prior to the thing you want to use. So let's say you want to use gun number 5, but you've only got gun number 1. You have to keep using gun number 1 until you get gun number 5. When you get to the point where you've unlocked everything in a category, you do get a bonus loadout point. So at launch, when you first start playing multiplayer, you'll only have like 20 points or something, whereas the final point count is like 26 or something like that. And I think you get 1 extra point per category. So 1 for the long guns, 1 for the sidearms, 1 for the mystics, 1 for the sidekicks, etc. So once you've unlocked everything in a particular category, you get 1 extra bonus loadout point. I don't know if that applies for all categories, but it applies for I think that's about 6 or something like that. They also showed off the chest store in multiplayer. So just like in the beta, you can buy your chests using relics. They did mention a little bit about Uncharted points, a little bit unclear about that in terms of, I know you can use Uncharted points to buy items straight away, so like a shortcut instead of grinding for it, or instead of getting lucky with a certain chest, but they didn't actually verify whether or not you could then use Uncharted points to buy chests, like in Call of Duty when you get COD points and stuff like that. So hopefully it's just relics for chests, and then obviously shortcuts for Uncharted points, but we'll have to wait and see until the game launches. They did specify that nothing was locked behind real world money, so Uncharted points can get you only what's already in the game, which you can access by the grinding or by using relics as you would normally. Paid boosters also return in Uncharted 4, but they're slightly different now. If you played Uncharted 3, you'll know that you can buy boosters before the start of a match, and they will give you an advantage in terms of whatever it is that you bought the booster for. There's only a couple, but in this game there's a few more. But they're all restricted to, instead of increasing your performance, for example, they'll only benefit you in terms of the in-game store. So, you know, if you've got like a timer on a recharge gear or something, you can buy it a little bit faster or a little bit cheaper, that sort of thing. But it won't be like you do more damage or you anything that affects you as a character or anything like that. And it's worth noting that just like the paid boosters in Uncharted 3, these are one-use items, and you can only equip 1 per game. And then once the game's over, whether you win or lose, it is gone. Someone asked a question about Uncharted TV. It is going to return. I normally have it turned off anyway, so I'm not too fussed about that. But what's interesting is they're planning on setting up some sort of a submission form, online submission form. So if you want to submit a clip or a video or something, you can fill in the form and then they'll review it. And if they think it's good enough, they will put it on the channel. So that's quite cool. I might start doing that. Obviously, if I get any good clips. Someone else also asked whether there were going to be skeleton characters returning. People from Uncharted 2 remember that a lot of players used the skeletons because they were pretty much dead silent. They didn't make any noise whatsoever. So they were really good in terms of sneaking up on enemy players and stuff. They confirmed that there will be no skeleton characters at launch. Whether or not they add them at a later date is to be seen, but even if they do add them, I imagine they'll make them like Uncharted 3 skeletons, the ones that made noises even though they had no organs to generate noises, so it's kind of a bit weird and stupid. They touched on again DLC in terms of maps and modes. Again, I've covered this in the previous videos, but if you didn't know, DLC will be free. Maps and modes anyway will be free, including co-op mode, which is coming later in the year. They didn't say anything specifically about vanity items and weapons. These, I mean, I assume they could be free, but they're more likely to be put into those either chests or locks behind a certain amount of currency, whether it be relics or Uncharted points, etc. Speaking of Uncharted points, as I said in the other videos and a little bit earlier on, you can use Uncharted points to buy a certain vanity item quicker. So instead of grinding for it or getting lucky with a chest, you can just pony up some cash and use that Uncharted points to buy the item straight away. It's sort of a shortcut. So they did specify that nothing was locked behind a paywall or anything like that, and you could grind for it or get lucky. But as I said, if you just want to use it straight away, you can always pay real world money. They showed off some plunder footage, and one of the things that they mentioned was that you can actually climb with the idol now. So in previous games you could only run or throw, but now you can actually climb with the idol as well. It's worth noting you can't use the rope at all when you're carrying the idol, so you can't do a charge melee and you can't rope swing, which is fair enough. Also, the melee feature with the idol from Uncharted 3 returns, so you can smash people around the face with it if you're trying to defend yourself. And also the game mode is now 4v4, but again, I've already covered that in a previous video. They've changed the cash value for revives. They said that not enough people were being revived or weren't going for revives, but now there's a big incentive to do so, because when you revive a friendly player, you get rewarded with a nice amount of cash, which is obviously going to help you when you want to buy stuff from the store. You should revive people anyway, but you know how it is. There's always selfish people out there, or non-team players or whatever, but now there's a legitimate reason for you to do it. I've already touched on the level system, so there's not going to be a classic level system in terms of Uncharted 3 or Uncharted 4. Everything you just either have to grind for it or get lucky with the chests. So there's no discernible way of measuring yourself compared to other players. So in previous games you could see that you were level, I don't know, 50 or prestige 1 or whatever. But in this game there is no leveling system in that respect. So the only way to compare yourself to another player is really in ranked playlists, and then just look on the leaderboards there. But what if you don't play ranked playlists? Everyone's just going to be at the same sort of level, so it doesn't really make any sense in terms of that. Seems like they missed something there. I don't know, I feel like there should be like an Uncharted 2-esque leveling system where you don't have to, you know, constantly unlock stuff, but you just get a higher rank the more you play, sort of thing. And so obviously with that, as I mentioned earlier, there's no unlocking a certain weapon or whatever at a certain level, because there are no levels in effect. There's a few preset loadouts. There's more than what there were in the beta, and they said there's quite a nice mix of variety there, so I guess it gives you a taste of the things to come if you haven't quite yet unlocked certain things, but that's the same with any multiplayer game. Custom games are going to come back. At the moment it's literally just a private version of a public match, but in the future they're going to try and add a few custom modes like there were in Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 2. They talked a little bit about the smoke bomb. So smoke bomb does block line of sight in terms of the sniper, so if you call in a sniper sidekick and someone's using smoke, the sniper can't see through the smoke and therefore can't shoot you through the smoke, so it's very good tactically. And also they mentioned the hunter as well, so the hunter is confused by the smoke sort of thing. So if there's smoke out and you're in the smoke and the hunter's also in the smoke, he or she won't be able to track you unless an enemy player has a bead on you. So if an enemy player knows you're in the smoke, that's when the hunter will also know that you're in the smoke. Or if you fire off a bullet and you appear on the radar, that's when the hunter will also know you're in the smoke, and it will track you down and choke you to death. Something else to mention, I did notice the red armbands in the beta, and I assumed, I mean they confirmed it now, but I assumed the reason for it. It's basically just so that you can easily distinguish between friendly players and enemy players. Enemy players will always have the red armband on, so if you get confused or anything, just check their arms and then you can start shooting. But then again, there's no friendly fire anyway, so start shooting, ask questions later. There's no friendly fire with grenades either, so it's all good. So I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but you can buy all sorts of different chests from the multiplayer store now, and one of the chests you can buy is called a hero chest, and that'll guarantee one variation of a hero weapon. Now the relic value for this chest is high. At the moment I think it's like 600, which is a lot of relics, but there is one little catch. You can't, even if you save up all your relics, you can't buy the hero weapon chest until you've unlocked at least one hero weapon. And the way you unlock a hero weapon is you have to use the base version of that weapon until you've unlocked all the attachments for it, basically. So you need to grind for the hero weapon for one particular weapon, and then you can get lucky with the hero chest, unless obviously you just want to grind for the rest, which is a guaranteed way of getting it, but just takes a bit longer and will save you a bit of relics as well. They brought up blind fire in the live stream, and they compared it to Uncharted 3 and how obviously they sort of made a mistake with that. Blind fire is adjusted in Uncharted 4, thankfully, so it's less effective when you're running around, just obviously blind firing from the hip. It's very situational now, so if you use it like when you're in cover or something like that, it'll work a bit more effectively and to your advantage. So you just have to use it in circumstances and not just spam it, all the time everywhere, which is what you could do in Uncharted 3 with certain weapons, which was a nightmare, but now that is gone. And so the last thing I want to talk about is the co-op. So they didn't reveal anything about the co-op. A couple of questions were asked, but they were adamant they weren't going to say anything. However, one of the guys did sort of hint that people who enjoyed previous Uncharted co-ops, and the way he worded it made it sound like he was referring to Uncharted 2, but I guess he could have referred to both in the same sentence. And the way he worded it was that anyone who really enjoyed previous Uncharted co-ops would really love Uncharted 4 co-op. So the way he worded it to me, and there was sort of a hint in his eye, he was talking about Uncharted 2 co-op, and if that's the case and there's a reverting back to how the co-op was from Uncharted 2, I would absolutely fall in love with that. So yeah, more news to come in the coming weeks and months. Obviously co-op DLC is going to come, but that's going to be later on in the year, which is a shame, but well, better late than never, right? Whew, okay, so that's pretty much everything then. As I said, that was a summary of the Uncharted 4 live stream that the developers did a couple of days ago. As I said, the stream was about 2 hours, and I tried to condense it into as fewer minutes as possible, but hasn't really worked out to be that short, to be honest. But yes, so all the main points I think I've listed. For more Uncharted news, I'm going to be covering it as and when the game comes out, and obviously as and when the DLC drops and stuff. Obviously, I'll be uploading a load of footage to my other two channels, so highlights, collections and multiplayer matches will go to AcornVision Gaming, and obviously the actual campaign walkthrough will be uploaded to my Plays channel. So head over there if you want to check those out. Again, links will be in the description. But yeah, until next time, if you enjoyed the video, consider tapping on the like button for me. I really do appreciate it. And subscribe if you want to be alerted about these videos, or as I said, just check back whenever you're free if you want to find out a bit more information. But yeah, so until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and until next time, take care.